Why don't you give our listeners a little history, a brief bio on yourself, and then we'll get going on a few things.
All right. So I live in Oslo, Norway, where I've been living my entire life. And I started out as a barista after high school. I was 19 years old, so that's 21 years ago. And just by coincidence, actually. So I actually didn't like coffee when I started working with coffee, and didn't even know what a coffee shop was because it was kind of a brand new thing in Norway. And because it was kind of the start of the coffee shop era in Oslo, there was a lot of people who were, trying to figure out how to make good coffee, and we were talking to each other and learning from each other. We created, or not we, but some people created what today is the World World Barista Championship in Norway. So I kind of got into that quite early and got totally hooked on coffee, mainly because of the preparation in the beginning. But then once the coffee started to get or taste better, I also started liking it. And then I had to get into coffee as well. And today I have my own company, which is a small company in Oslo, Norway, where we roast and import coffee. And we also have a coffee shop where we serve espresso-based drinks and AirPress, yes.
It's funny that you mentioned about the process, and that's what got you into coffee, because almost everyone I know that's addicted to coffee, or at least a part of the coffee culture, or would consider themselves part of the coffee culture, are as addicted to the process of making it as much as they are drinking it.
Yeah.
In North America, it's a very common drive-through. I don't know if you've been to, America, North America, Canada, anything like that, like, the US or any of those markets. But our whole scene is drive-through coffee, really. Pull up, you grab a coffee and a donut, and then you drive away. And Starbucks is here, and there's but I'm finding that as I'm rolling through this journey for the first time, I'm discovering that coffee culture has become a huge part of North America now, and I think it's relatively new. So how old is it in Oslo? Because you said you're only a handful of years in, really, into the coffee scene. How long has the actual coffee scene been in Oslo?
It's been culturally, coffee came to Norway like in the 1700s, but after the Second World War, of course, Norway was one of the poorest countries in the world, or in Europe, not in the world, in Europe. And we got a lot of help from the US. And of course, the government kind of didn't want us to spend dollars on coffee. But what the coffee roasters did was they were sending down codfish that we had a lot of to Brazil, and then we got coffee back. So just because of that, we started off with having quite high quality coffee in the supermarkets very early on after the Second World War. And that kind of boosted, I think, the coffee culture here in Norway, because you could access really good quality coffee very easily. And then once Starbucks kind of came to America and Norwegians started to travel to America, some people were studying in America, I think in the early 90s, and then they took the kind of coffee culture or the cafe or coffee bar experience. They wanted to start that in Oslo. So that started actually in the mid 90s. And when I started working in 98 in a coffee shop, I think there was like 4 or 5 coffee shops in the entire country. And then in the 2000s, of course, many, many more opened. And today we have, a coffee bar on every corner, but we don't have a lot of Starbucks here. And they actually just came to Norway, I think 4 or 5 years ago. So it's a very kind of Nordic coffee culture that you don't see in so many other countries. It's very kind of national and not so international, if you know what I mean, when it comes to coffee shops.
But it seems so new. Like you're saying 98. So like it's really, would you say that it's really this current trend of coffee culture? Would you say then that it's really only about 20 to 25 years old? Is that really?
For sure.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then you guys started, doing competitions and all the rest of it. So that's new to Oslo and new to Norway as well, or did you join the rest of them around the world?
No. Actually, the competition history is pretty interesting because my old boss actually went to the US together with one of his colleagues and friends, and there was a barista competition in a coffee trade show called the Specialty Coffee Association. But it was all about kind of adding sugar-based syrups into cappuccinos and nothing more. So they decided to make something different here in Norway. And I think that was in 1998 as well, right before I started working in coffee. And so they kind of made it more kind of espresso and cappuccino focused. And then they had like a signature beverage at the end and so on. And that format that they created in Norway in 98 became the World Barista Championship in the year 2000. And the format is more or less the same today. So, but before this competition and kind of in the mid 90s, the whole kind of what people refer to as specialty coffee was very, very new. And just the phrase specialty coffee was coined by an American Norwegian lady who I don't remember the year, but she, it was, I think in the 90s that this kind of thing appeared, and it all came out of Peet's Coffee and Starbucks. I think the whole kind of wave that you're seeing today with coffee shops and roasters, it kind of started with those in Berkeley in California.
Thanks for stopping by, friends, to the Brenton on Tour podcast channel on YouTube. Coffee, music, travel, life, all of those things, one page, lots of guests, lots of chatter. We talk about all of it. If you like it, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment. I'll get back to you. Thanks, friends. See you next time.